Well, if you were one of the people on March 31st, 1973, who sat down to watch Wide World of Sports thinking you were just going to see Muhammad Ali beat another fairly unknown heavyweight, in this case Kenny Norton, well, you of course were mistaken. And that is our super bout on this show. Hi everybody, I'm Al Bernstein. Happy to welcome you to another edition of Superbouts, and delighted that we're going to take a look back at the first Muhammad Ali-Kenny Norton fight. And yes, on that afternoon in San Diego, many people believed that Muhammad Ali was just making a stopover on his way to another shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. But it didn't turn out to be quite that, did it? For Muhammad Ali heading into this match, you see that this 31-year-old ex-champ was doing what he always seemed to be doing, beating top heavyweights. The win over Joe Bugner, the win over the former champ, Floyd Patterson, who was aging but still somewhat competitive, and knocking out the light heavyweight champ, Bob Foster, who decided to try his hand as a heavyweight. For Kenny Norton, who was this guy, perhaps a lot of America was asking? Well, he was a 28-year-old ex-Marine who had fought his way into the top 10 of the heavyweight division. And even though he was unknown to the majority of the public, he was considered a very good heavyweight. You see the wins he had there. The only name opponent, really, was Henry Clark. Beat him in the 9th round with a KO. Clark was rated in the top 10. Well, he would get his chance against Muhammad Ali, Kenny Norton, and he would change forever his unknown status. His trainer for that match was a well-known fellow, Eddie Futch, who would later become even better known for training champions. Kenny Norton knew that he needed something to battle the Ali mystique, something beyond his own abilities, and so he hired a hypnotist before this fight to help him concentrate so that nothing Ali would do or the carnival atmosphere that surrounds Ali fights, none of it would affect him, he felt, if he could get into hypnosis. That's exactly what he did. Well, whether it was the hypnosis or simply his own ability, on this particular afternoon in San Diego, Kenny Norton fought a very special fight, and in fact, he made history. Let's go now to the first Muhammad Ali-Kenny Norton fight.
The scene is the San Diego Sports Arena in San Diego, California. You're looking at the former heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali, about to fight 12 rounds for the North American Heavyweight Championship against the challenger, Ken Norton, the ex-Marine from San Diego, California. And as I said, it is scheduled for 12 rounds. They are calling it a tune-up for the former champion of the world, Muhammad Ali.
Introducing in the white corner, the former Marine, the number 1, make that the number 7 contender in the world, from San Diego, California, with a record of 31, 1, and 24 KOs, weighing in at 210 pounds, here is Kenny Norton. Kenny Norton.
And I'm sure that this very muscular 210-pounder is looking to perhaps put himself up from number 7, perhaps up to number 1 by defeating the former heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali. Let's go to his introduction.
The former world heavyweight champion, his record 41-1 with 31 KOs, weighing in at 221 pounds, the people's choice, Muhammad Ali.
Well, the former heavyweight champion of the world, very relaxed, bouncing, talking to his head trainer, Angelo Dundee, and looking in the direction of our own Dr. Ferdy Pacheco, who had just helped him out of that beautiful-looking robe he had, Ferdy.
That robe was given by Elvis Presley in our last fight in Las Vegas. It cost around $3,000, and it was Ali's pride and joy. On the back, it said, People's Choice in rhinestone and jewels, and he loved it.
The referee is Frank Rustage. He is giving the fighters the final instructions. It is set for 12 rounds. The judges, Al Ricketts and Fred Hayes, and they will be wearing, according to California law, 10-ounce gloves, not the standard 8-ounce gloves normally used in heavyweight and all championship fights around the world. Okay, the seconds are out. Ken Norton on the left, the former champion Muhammad Ali on the right. From the San Diego Sports Arena, the bell for round 1, and Ali coming out fast and missing with the left. And standing flat-footed and ready to go to work to prove to the world that the former champion is well on his way, Ferdy, to once again retaining and getting back that title he lost to Joe Frazier.
Ken Norton was a 5-to-1 underdog in this fight. Ali had not taken him very seriously, had trained, I would say, in an intermediate fashion. He'd been out in the parking lot talking to people 5 hours before this fight, and he was very relaxed. Ken Norton, as you can see, has a very strange, almost crab-like style. It defies description, and it's very difficult to solve. His stance is very wide. He keeps one hand down. It's a very strange, jinking kind of rhythm to his style.
Well, as you said, Ferdy, the former champion Ali, a solid 5-1 favorite in this thing, and Norton, a relatively unknown, perhaps best known for the 5 years he spent as a sparring partner to Joe Frazier. But Ali, of course, very contrasting styles between the ex-champion and Joe Frazier.
At this stage of the fight, we see Ali is trying to out-jab Norton. He can't get his timing. He keeps talking to him and taunting him. Norton grimly determined, well-trained by Eddie Futch, Bob Byron, his manager, looking on. They're sure they can defeat Ali. They're sure they can bring about the upset and get a title shot with George Foreman. Ali keeps talking and throwing out a jab that's not landing.
One thing, Ferdy, you notice about Norton here, he seems to be sort of leaning over, and you see him feigning his head and putting it down to the right, trying to, I guess, stay out of the way of that most effective jab that perhaps one of the best there ever was in the history of boxing, coming from the left hand of Muhammad Ali.
What's confusing Ali right now, he's used to his jab landing real hard. He's got a very fast jab, great right hand to follow the jab, probably one of the finest jabbers in the business, maybe of all time. Muhammad Ali's used that jab to tear people apart, and right now he's not landing, as Ken Norton is sliding over to the side, using a lot of motion of the head. It's very, very hard to solve.
I'm looking at the right foot of, as you see right there, of Norton. He's just feet very, very far apart, and sort of almost his right leg at a 90-degree angle to his left.
And he moves in a strange fashion. He drags it behind him like Quasimodo. He's a very strange kind of motion on his part.
Good scoring here as Norton backs Ali up into the ropes, and Ali comes back, and with the heavier of the two, pushes him almost clear across the ring, and now he's got Norton pushed up against the ropes.
Norton showing no respect whatsoever for Ali at this point. Norton's come out. He wants to take this first round. He wants to show Ali that he's in with a real fighter.
Well, I think he's done that as we move now under 10 seconds in round one, and it's coming to you from the San Diego Sports Arena. That's about it. The action, round one, Ali against Norton. Okay, the action for round two. It's set for 12. Round one, Ken Norton coming out. That's him in the dark trunks, going after the former champion, letting him know, as you said, Ferdy, that he is come to fight.
And Ali would like to end this early. He sees a very, very muscled up and really tough customer in front of him. He'd like to get out of here early. He threw at the very end of that round some meaningful lefts and rights, but it did not appear to faze Norton. Norton just took them and went calmly back to his corner. He's back out.
Oh, good left. Great left to the chin of Ali.
Great left. Caught him with his mouth. Just when he was talking, he got hit just then. You keep talking, you're going to get hit while you're talking.
And he followed it up with a pretty good shot to the midsection. Ken Norton did. I think, as you said, his style continuing perhaps to mystify Ali a little bit. Another good left scored by Norton.
Right to the same point of the jaw. Another left hook. He seems to be understanding that he can get the hook in following the jab. There's two good jabs. Now that's hard. It's hard to do to out-jab Muhammad Ali. You've really got to be fast to out-jab Muhammad Ali.
And of course, every second and every minute that goes by for Ken Norton is going to give him more confidence against the ex-champion. And he doesn't at this point in round two seem awed at all by Muhammad Ali.
He just did something there that was incredible to me. He just jabbed twice to the stomach without any return from Ali. That leaves you wide open to jab to the stomach. Look how off balance Ken Norton is. And yet he seems to make it work for him. That whole off balance.
Two good jabs. One straight right through the glove. Another and a good right. Another good right. Followed with a left and another good right. Very aggressive and scoring many, many points here in combinations is Ken Norton. And Ali perhaps wondering maybe at this point early in the fight in round two that what have I got here? I've got my hands full.
Ali's position there is one, that's what he's trying to do, throw that right hand. When you see Ali cock like that and stand still, he's looking to throw a right hand lead, and he just threw it then.
Well, lots of action here from the San Diego Sports Arena. It's scheduled for 12.
As you pointed out, Bob, the way he leans over negates the right. See the way he's leaning over then, you can't land a right hand. He just keeps leaning over away from it.
Plus the fact that when you're trying to land that left hand, that right hand, he's continually got that left in your face, and he's got a tremendous reach, as you can see. Ken Norton does. A little shorter than Ali, but in reach, perhaps is effective.
Good right hand.
And a good left by Ali. Another good left by Ali. Puts the fans out of their seats at San Diego.
This is heating up. A good exchange of right hands. Ali looking to counter his left jab with a right hand over.
Oh, the great right by Norton to the jaw of the ex-champion Muhammad Ali.
He's got him back in his corner. An uppercut between the raised gloves. Ali talking to him. Put his hand behind his head, which is illegal. Talking to him.
What's to say there in the corner? What was it about?
A lot of concern about his jaw. It was hurting him. He could move it with his tongue. There's a possibility of a fracture. And now we look at the punch that might have done it. There's a right hand, hits Ali right in mid-adjective. Ali driven back into the ropes as Norton follows up his advantage with a tremendous left hook to the kidneys. Now, at this point, we were having serious thoughts about a fracture of the jaw as we wait round 3 coming up.
Well, regardless of, as we wait for the bell for round 3, and there it is. Regardless of the speculation about whether or not there is a problem, an injury to the ex-champion, he is right out there in the center of the ring, ready to do battle, as we said, in round 3. And Ken Norton coming right after him with continually scoring with his left and trying to follow with the right, which just about grazes the chin of Muhammad Ali.
And you see Ali a little bit more tentative now than he was in the other 2 fights and in the other 2 rounds. And he's also not talking as much. You have to remember, he's got probably the finest corner man in the world in Angelo Dundee working his corner. Angelo has a great deal of concern for the fighter. If he thought the jaw was definitely broken, that would be a question of stopping this. At this point, there's no way of knowing, so Ali is going out to do battle again. Norton doesn't suspect that there's anything wrong with Ali, and he's fighting his usual fight. Pressuring him. Ali moving away, as you can see, using his float like a butterfly movement, which is not confusing Norton at all. Norton coming on, dragging that right foot behind him, but still able to cut the ring on Ali.
Well, of course, Ali won the title for the first time in '64 when he knocked out Sonny Liston in 7. Inactive, as you said, Ferdy, earlier for 3 years, but now very active. And so is Ken Norton in the dark trunks.
And what we're seeing here is a wonderful example of the footwork that made Muhammad Ali maybe the greatest heavyweight of all time. One of the things that's exceptional is he can go either way. He stops, he does a dance step, he goes to his right, he goes to his left, and all the time flicking out that left jab. That is Muhammad Ali. That is the great fighter that can use mobility to neutralize another man's punching power, which is what he's doing in this round while he collects his thought and gets himself together.
You made reference to him collecting his thought, and as we see him, and you make a good, valid point there, Ferdy, the fact that he is moving. He wasn't moving this much. He wasn't dancing and up on his toes and really using that ring to his advantage, so to speak.
Ali is hurting. Ali is trying to get to the point where he doesn't punch with Norton. Norton's punches are causing some damage on Ali and causing him to hurt. In order to neutralize that, he's got to move around because obviously you can see he's a superior fighter as far as movement is concerned at this point. However, and to Norton's credit, he won't be intimidated. He won't be fooled. He senses there's something wrong and he's coming on. Now that's a good fighter. Of course, this round, Ali must continue to move as he collects his thoughts, as he tries to figure out what is hurt and what's happening.
But I think you can also see some frustration in the face of Norton, and you can see him now sort of looking a little bit confused as we count down the final seconds of round 3. As he ties him up, Norton does Ali on the ropes, and the referee, Frank Rustage, puts them apart.
At one point, he's complained to Frank Rustage that Ali's not fighting, that he's moving around.
Okay, less than 5 seconds now coming up, and round 3 is history between Ali and Norton. Look at the ex-champion as Ken Norton comes out to meet Ali in the center of the ring for round 4 from the San Diego Sports Arena, Ferdy.
Kenny Norton filled with a new desire and fueled with a new confidence. He's got Ali running in front of him. No one can figure out why, but Kenny doesn't care why. He just knows that he's running away from him, possibly intimidated by his punching power. Ali, on the other hand, knows he's got to stop this early because he's not going to be able to continue with the pain in the jaw that he feels. In that corner, there's a great deal of consternation, a great deal of concern for Ali, who is not a fighter who complains and who is a fighter who's got all kind of courage to accept pain. Still in all, Drew Boudini Brown, Youngblood, Saria, Angelo Dundee, we're all concerned that he doesn't have to take this kind of punishment
A good right there. That's punishment. And Norton continuing to go downstairs, upstairs, whatever he can.
And Ali giving the version of the rope-a-dope, the San Diego rope-a-dope here. He's standing still. He's catching most of those punches on the shoulder and gloves. It's not hurting Ali. Ali is waiting until Norton gets tired. But Norton, with that tremendous physical ability and the tremendous body he's got, is not getting tired. He's just coming on fueled by energy, derived from seeing Ali run.
We're in round 4. It is scheduled for 12, and they have billed it as a North American Heavyweight Championship, which I think is probably the furthest thing from Ali's thoughts at this time.
Ali's come down from that dancing. You cannot float like a butterfly through 10 full rounds here.
You can, but you will not sting like a bee.
Yes. Look at the relentless pressure on Norton. Norton standing right in front of him. He doesn't want to go back. He wants to come forward punching.
Frank Rustage is the referee, and he's had very little to do up to this point between these two heavyweight gladiators.
Ali toying with him, Ali playing with him, trying to get his mind off of, putting his gloves on top of his head, doing things he did to Sonny Liston, but Norton's not going for any of that jive. He's listened to Frazier, who's told him, don't listen to Ali, don't play with Ali, just stay right on him. And he's fighting a Joe Frazier fight. It looks like the first Frazier-Ali fight where they stood toe-to-toe for almost 15 rounds, because Norton is not going to be fooled. He knows something is wrong with Ali, and he's trying to take advantage of it.
Well, Norton continuing to score, and whether or not there is really serious, there is serious damage to the chin of and the jaw of Ali. Norton continues to bang at him, and the game ex-champion is still hanging right in there.
And he's taking an awful lot of right hands right on that jaw.
And then waving Norton to come in as we move within 20 seconds now, round 4. Well, Ali pounding away at the head of Ken Norton, standing flat-footed. Norton right in front of him. Norton sticking out his left as round 4 comes to an end.
Working gingerly with the towel. He's not wiping him down with a great deal of force. Look at Ali tilt his head over. He doesn't want to have that side of the jaw touch because it's hurting. He can move it with his tongue. I can move it with my hands. There's no doubt there's a fracture of the jaw, but Ali does not want this stopped. Ali wants this to continue. Ali wants another round, and there's no reason not to give it to him. And round 5 begins. Let's see how Ali can handle the ever-pressing Ken Norton.
Freddie, between rounds, it's an obvious concern on Bundini and Angelo and yourself. Was there any more conversation coming from him as we look at Norton pursuing Ali and really scoring here with rights and lefts, upstairs and downstairs?
With a great deal of concern on our part, we felt that it can be stopped at any moment because he has a fractured jaw. Muhammad Ali, will not accept defeat from a 5-1 underdog and go down in the record books as a TKO and short-circuit his chance of the title. He feels he can knock out Ken Norton. Ken Norton is coming on. He's getting careless. He's getting reckless. Ali feels he can put that right hand in. Let's see if he can stop Ken Norton.
Well, there he is. He's trying to. He's snapping rights at him, but Ken Norton is standing right in front, still crouched over, the right foot planted, still trying to ward off that effective left jab of Ali. Of course, Ali, not many knockouts to his great career, but not a devastating puncher. I wouldn't say he's a one-punch fighter anyway. He usually beats you in combinations, sets you up with a jab, works to the body.
You must remember, Ali is a combination puncher. You must remember one fact that most people don't realize. It almost hurts as much to throw a punch as to take a punch when your jaw is broken. Anytime you connect solidly, you can feel it right on your jaw. That's searing pain that Ali's in right now, but you can't see it from his face. He's masking it. He's fighting good. He leans away from those right hands because it's hurting every time he gets hit. On the other hand, the way Ken Norton is leaning over, you can't hit him good with the right hand. You can't knock him out. So Ali is faced with the prospect of having to land combinations on this relentless and ever-pressing Ken Norton. It's not easy.
One thing is very obvious here. This Ali is this is supposedly a tune-up so he can regain the title now, and he obviously has injury, and I would think he's flirting with a really serious injury, perhaps his career, continuing a fight with a broken jaw.
Of course, that was the biggest problem in the corner when that happens, is how far can you let it go? How far can you let it go? It's not endangering his life. It's not endangering him as far as permanent disability is concerned. It's just up to the fighter because the pain is so intense that he should quit. but Muhammad Ali has absolutely no quit in him, and he has never been known to shy away from a contest, and he's in one tonight.
Well, he also has an ego, and it would be humiliating should he not come out and sit in his stool. Perhaps because you got to remember, as he takes more punches from Ken Norton, 1-2, Norton missing over the right hand as we go under 20 seconds, that Ali has been a champion, and champions don't sit down. And obviously, the hometown crowd that favors Norton would not realize, and perhaps doesn't realize what you in the corner knew. So we count down now, 8, 7, 6 seconds, and round 5 is now also in the record books.
Well, overhand rights probably did the damage and hit Ali just right to break the jaw, which makes it really all the more remarkable that Ali continued on in this fight, even to be competitive against Norton. But he really wasn't that competitive. Kenny Norton was having his way with Ali, banging him to the body and the head, forcing him against the ropes, and really making Ali cover up. Kenny Norton would later say that he wasn't aware of Ali's jaw being broken, didn't sense there was any big physical problem. All he knew was that he was focused on dealing out as much punishment as he possibly could against Ali, and that's exactly what he was doing. So Ali, facing the broken jaw, also the problems he was having with Kenny Norton's style, could he come back in this fight? Could he even make himself competitive? We'll find out now as we check in with round 6.
That's Norton on the left, Ali on the right of your screen as they get ready for the bell. And there it is, round 6 underway, and again they meet in the center of the ring. And Ali now, Ferdy, up bouncing a little bit, perhaps going to go back to what he did in round 3, dancing and moving in the old inimitable Ali style.
Ali's got to be attacking some here. In order to keep Norton off of him, he's got to be doing something offensively. If he keeps going into that defensive shell, Norton will keep getting braver. He'll keep coming on and on and on. So Ali now must do a little fighting to keep him off. There's an old adage, there's no better defense than a good offense.
What about your scorecard? Oh, Norton coming in and swinging and gets a response from the more than 11,800 on hand at the San Diego Sports Arena.
At this point, I have Norton slightly ahead because Ali has been covering up in the last 3 rounds, has not been doing that much fighting. So he's got to get started as far as points are concerned, because he cannot lose to this man. He cannot lose to 5-1 underdog Ken Norton, or else his title chances will disappear, and there'll be another 2 years before he gets a title shot.
We're at the halfway mark, since this is scheduled for 12 rounds for the North American Heavyweight Championship. One thing I might bring out on the California rules, we mentioned at the top of this fight that they're using 10-ounce gloves. Had it been 8-ounce, perhaps this fight might have been over by now.
Could possibly be. Certainly, Ken Norton has been landing stiff punches in this round. He has just landed a series of jabs, caught Ali hyperextended, going back on his leg so he couldn't go back any further, and still being hit by the jab. Now the jab followed by the right hand. Kenny's fighting a beautiful fight up to this point. Straight right hand catches Ali. Ali going back, not dancing as much, putting his hands up, looking for that one right hand shot. There's Ali fighting off the ropes. That's what he has to do, as long as he's punching the other guy's nut.
Continuing to put the jab in Ali's face is Ken Norton in the dark trunks, as now they get tied up. The referee is Frank Rustage. One of the few times he's had to separate these 2 heavyweights.
And you've noticed that Ali has stopped talking. He has not been talking through the last 2 or 3 rounds. He has had to keep his mouth clenched pretty good in order to keep that pain down.
An obvious indication that there is serious problems with the ex-champion and his jaw, because there's no question about it. He would be talking, incessantly talking and waving his opponent, although he has done that a few times. He's waved Norton to come to him. Ali still slipping those punches, leaning back, trying to protect whatever injury he has. As we move under 20 seconds in round 6.
He's not blocking any of those jabs. He's trying to slip them, but he's not doing a good enough job because he's going back away from the jab. And, of course, Norton's leaning in with the jab, so he's connecting.
Okay, winding down. Round 6, Ali on the right, Norton on the left. The bell for round 7, scheduled for 12. There have been no knockdowns, and except for Ali's apparently broken jaw, fractured jaw, there has no obvious marks on either fighter. And neither fighter has been really in serious trouble throughout this the first 6 rounds.
Ali still refusing to have the fight stopped. His manager, Herbert Muhammed, concurring with that. Every time he comes back in the corner, he says, give me one more round. This round, I will take care of him. And Angelo Dundee, one of the most sympathetic men in boxing, and certainly one of the men who has the interest of his boxer at heart, pleading to stop it. But as long as Ali wants to continue, he can continue, because there isn't anyone who doesn't believe that Ali will beat Norton in the end, except maybe Norton and his corner, and he's certainly doing a good job of it.
Well, this fight was billed as a tune-up for the former champion who lost to Joe Frazier, his title in 1971. But obviously, it's been more than that, much more than that. And Ken Norton, as far as he's concerned, this is his title fight. This is what he's been waiting for. The ex-Marine, his dreams right here in the 7th round. Perhaps feeling confident, showing a lot of confidence in pursuing and going after the ex-champion. Not backing up for 1 minute of any round.
And being watched by his old employer, Joe Frazier, and Yancey Durham, who certainly programmed a beautiful fight in the first Ali-Frazier fight. And I have to believe that they did a lot of talking to Ken Norton, because Ken Norton is fighting a Joe Frazier type fight, putting all of the pressure on Ali, not letting Ali get set, not letting Ali do his jiving, just staying right on top of him. Again, a nice sweeping hook by Ken Norton. Kenny, definitely the aggressor, definitely the one that's chasing Ali. Ali fighting back in retreat. Not enough to win these rounds for Ali.
Ali at 210. 11-pound weight advantage for Ali over Ken Norton, but a tremendous physique on the ex-Marine from San Diego. You wonder sometimes that they talk about people being muscle-bound, whether that restricts his punching power.
Well, he's got that slick, long type of muscle. Kenny's one of the most beautifully proportioned athletes I think I've ever seen in any sport. And he certainly is competent and has great reflexes. Tonight he's got desire, something that
too good.
he has
Sticks that jab right under Ali's chin and moves him back off balance. Ali now leading out with a jab.
I think this is the first time Ali's found himself out-jabbed by anyone. Kenny Norton is using the weapon that Ali has gotten to the title and gotten to greatness with, jabs. He's in the corner now. Kenny again pushing him into the corner as we come down to the end of the round, with Ali still looking for the solution.
Pretty even fight thus far, with the former champion in the white trunks, Ken Norton in the dark trunks. Every round that it goes, got to build up the confidence that was already instilled in the ex-Marine Ken Norton.
The crowd sensing and coming up with each Ken Norton exchange that he's on the verge of an upset, because Kenny, as he opens every round, seems to take the first minute of the round. Ali comes out full of determination and goes back into the defensive shell, as the pain must force him to quit fighting an offensive fight and try to cover up.
And of course, Norton knows that with every punch, and every punch that scores and lands on the chin or to the body of Ali, that it means another giant stepping stone in the heavyweight future of San Diego's own Ken Norton.
Ali now back up on his toes, trying to get that breather, trying to get some relief. And Ken Norton coming up in a strange style, chasing him, looking for him to stop so that he can pummel him. Now he's got him in the corner. Kenny goes into a reverse rope-a-dope just then. Strange for a man who's been chasing Ali. Ali's doing what he does best, moving and jabbing, punching away. But even that movement must have a jarring effect on his jaw. Of course, Norton is pressing him to such an extent that all he wants to do is cut off the round, catch him in a corner, and pummel him. Ali goes into that. Oh, there he's doing something illegal. He put his hand, and he's being warned by the referee. He put his hand on the rope, which you cannot do.
Well, Ali continuing to move around, Ferdy.
Look at this movement here. Ali's got him from one rope to the other, and moves out of the corner just when Ken Norton thought he had him cornered. That's the masterful defensive moves of a Muhammad Ali.
Norton continuing to score with that jab to the chin, the fractured jaw of Muhammad Ali.
And everyone's getting a little restless as this continues to be a one-way street. It is just Ken Norton pursuing, and Ali escaping and doing his escape act. Ali's got to stop and fight. He'll lose his fight if he doesn't stop and fight somewhere along the line. He's got to make up his mind to take some pain of the kind that only Kenny Norton can inflict upon him at this moment.
Well, it's going to be a tough one to score, with the referee, Frank Rustage, and the two judges, Rochettes and Fred Hayes.
Ken Norton's fighting two people in there today. He's fighting Muhammad Ali, and he's fighting the legend of Muhammad Ali. Been known to influence the judges and referees throughout the world. Everyone's in love with this man and his legend. It's hard to believe that he's just retreating and taking this beating from Ken Norton without fighting back.
Less than 10 seconds now remaining in round 8. As the referee pushes the fighters, the heavyweights apart, and Ali comes back following the exchange.
The Ali legend, a legend that's so big, Ken Norton felt the need to go to hypnotist to get him prepared and motivated for this fight. Whatever he did the right thing, because Ken Norton is right in Ali's face, and he has not moved for the entire fight.
Opening moments of round 9. It's scheduled for 12. They are billing it as a North American Heavyweight Championship, but it's more important than that. And this is Bob Halloran along with the fight doctor, Dr. Ferdy Pacheco, who, of course, has been in the corner through these 8 rounds and now into round 9, has been counseling Ali, perhaps along with his trainer, Angelo Dundee, the very capable Angelo Dundee, saying, get in there, Ali. There might be an upset in the making here. I don't know whether you were telling him. Look at Ken Norton coming in, slapping into the kidneys. Roundhouse rights, lefts, upstairs, hitting Ali in the jaw, the fractured jaw.
That right hand to the jaw, another right hand to the jaw. Those things hurt you all the way down to your heels. It's like an electric shock all the way down to your heels. Ali smothering, putting his left hand behind Norton's head and pulling his head into his chest. That immobilizes Norton, sets him back up into the middle, and they start. In the corner, Angelo Dundee, Boudini Brown, all of us imploring Ali to stop it at any time, because it would not be a disgrace to be stopped on a fractured jaw. But Ali, ever the brave Ali, will not stop this fight. He keeps saying, I can get him this round. And out he comes to try.
And one thing you must keep in mind, Ali has had 42 fights. He's only lost 1 time, and that was for the title of Joe Frazier. And among those 42 fights, a total of 31 knockouts. He certainly is not thinking defeat. And, of course, on the same hand, on the other hand, Ken Norton still going after the ex-champion, jabbing, slashing rights across, trying to land that big one that perhaps will put an end to this fight. Perhaps hoping that referee Frank Rustage will step in and call it into it. And then the crowd of better than 11,800 at the San Diego Sports Arena, the hometown of Ken Norton, will realize a dream come true for this ex-Marine.
The crowd is getting excited. They're sensing an upset. They see that Ali cannot do. There again, the glove in back of Norton's head, a tactic that he uses with great effectiveness, which, by the way, is illegal. Ali again looking for that right hand. He's picking with the left and waiting for the right. Norton does not oblige. Back to the attack, back to those kidney punches, back to those shots to the right side of the jaw.
Less than 25 seconds now remaining in round 9. 3 more to go after this. 9 minutes of fighting between perhaps one of the great upsets in boxing about to happen here in San Diego.
And for the first time in this fight, Ali showing great signs of weariness. He leaned back into those ropes as if he were greatly tired, but he has nothing to worry about in this round because we are coming to the end of this round. Up on the ropes, something Angelo Dundee doesn't permit his fighters to do. He must be very tired to be getting an arm massage from Boudini and Youngblood as the round begins, round 10.
It's scheduled for 12, Ferdy, and it looks like at this point that it's probably going to go the distance for the North American Heavyweight Championship. It's in San Diego Sports Arena. It's been pretty much of what you're seeing. Ali back, dancing a little bit. Norton crouched down, right foot planted, coming on relentlessly, sensing perhaps an upset, as do the better than 11,000 in attendance in San Diego. I would say, Ferdy, as we look at your card, I don't know what yours shows, but it looks pretty much, except maybe for a couple of rounds, that this has been the evening that Ken Norton will long remember.
It will. It would be one of the biggest nights in his life because he is ahead right now on my card. I cannot see how Ali can pull this out unless he knocks out Ken Norton. He will not knock out Ken Norton, going backwards on his toes and punching, flicking jabs out. He has to stand and fight.
Well, now Norton bouncing a little bit, but still coming in. Scoring again with a jab and going again to the side. Tremendous punches. A lot of leverage behind him. Putting everything he has in there. Almost falling down. Picking Ali up now and being warned by the referee.
That's an exuberant Ken Norton. He feels it. He's way, way up in the sky. He really feels he's got an upset coming. He even picked up Ali at 221. He has got absolute joy in him right now. He is fighting happy. Ali is fighting with a grim determination just to hang out to the end. It doesn't even look like he's going to try to win this fight, but just to hang out. He is not going to be TKO'd by this 5-1 underdog, Ken Norton.
And Norton even throwing punches here like he has no respect at all, at perhaps knowing at this point that he's taken about everything Ali can throw, and evidently the punches don't have that much behind him. He's not concerned. He's not worried perhaps that this former great champion that can sting him, maybe put one shot on him that will end what appears to be certainly a monumental upset in heavyweight division.
Ken Norton has fought like this from the opening bell. He hasn't been scared. He hasn't been cautious. Oh, what a miss!
Oh,
and he comes back.
Hits him with the right.
He comes back with the right hand.
Takes a left from Ali.
Now they're exchanged. Now is Ali's chance. If Ali ever had a chance, it's now. And Ali instead is talking to him. Instead of punching toe-to-toe, he's starting to talk to him.
Well, he better stop talking, Purdy, and he better start doing more punching, because that's an aggressive, overconfident, very confident. Perhaps overconfidence is an understatement on Ken Norton's part at this point.
Ken Norton is willing to trade with him, willing to go toe-to-toe. Ali is trying to land something hard this round, and he has landed that with a good right hand by Ali, but it doesn't seem to bother Ken Norton at all. Ken is right back in there.
You mentioned earlier as we moved down about the effective jab, and it's been effective from Ken Norton. 5-4-3. This is the end of round 10. Look at Ferdy, the most exciting of this fight thus far.
Exciting for both fighters, but exciting in that you see Ken Norton in the height of the joy of the fight. Here he is, tying up Ali, and now you can see him lifting Ali up. Almost a playful gesture with these two guys, and that's a big 221 pounds to lift up.
And he gets a little warning from the referee about that lift. As we look at Ken Norton now, very confident, and the bell sounds for round 11. It's scheduled for 12.
Eddie Futch saying, keep the pressure on, but don't get careless. We've got this fight in the bag. Just keep doing what you're doing, but don't get careless. He is the former heavyweight champion of the world and one of the greatest fighters to ever put on gloves. Ali's won many a fight in the 13th, 14th, and 15th. In this case, he's got 11 and 12 to go. Let's see how he reacts. This is what's called Ali's alley. This is where you're on his highway. You're on his turf. These last two rounds is what makes Ali pull out fights. Now we'll see Ali fighting with everything he's got. He's been saving it for now, and now's when he's got to go. So far this round, he's been on the attack. He's been on the move. He stumbled a little bit there. Makes me fearful that his legs are not what they were, but he's coming on. Look at this punching attack by Ali. Look at the hand speed. Look at that hand speed. That's a Cleveland Williams type of fight. That's a fight with a hand speed put away Cleveland Williams.
Look at Norton coming right back, smiling at him, flaring away himself.
Ali trying to play that game of putting his gloves on top of his head. He's back to fighting. The crowd on his feet, sensing that Ali's desperation.
They love it, Purdy. They love it.
Ali doing more punching this round than he's done in the past 6 put together.
Well, I'll tell you what, if that broken jaw is bothering him, he certainly is showing no signs of it. He's a former great champion, a great fighter. Never give up, Muhammad Ali. Still in there, punching away, taking the shots, the jabs, and the wild rights and left being thrown by Ken Norton.
No one in this arena, including the referee, Norton and Norton's corner, are aware of what Ali is going through, of Ali's agony. They're just seeing an ex-champion being whipped by a 5-1 underdog, Ken Norton, and loving every minute in San Diego.
Winding down now on round 11. One more to go.
Ali's hand speed getting slower as the round goes. He started out lightning fast, and he's getting back to being slow again.
There's no question, Purdy. I think that although he's only done it for about 3 rounds in the 11, when he dances and he moves here and he floats like a butterfly and stings like a bee, he's much more effective. He confuses Norton. He throws his timing off. Norton does not get a chance to get set.
Yes,
to be first, as they say.
The Ali of old cashed in on that speed and mobility. This Ali, this night, has not been able to do it. Of course, no one has ever fought this many rounds with a broken jaw and fought as well as Ali has up to this point.
Ali still sticking the jab in. Norton covering up with both hands. The crowd urging Ken Norton. Perhaps many of them urging Ali, the 5-1 favorite, to come on. They're just loving every minute of it. We are less than 10 seconds. And only 3 minutes of this fight is remaining as round 11 is about to come to an end. And that is the bell for round 11 as we watch Ken Norton go back, shake his head a little bit. Eddie Futch jumping through his trainer, jumping through the ropes, perhaps telling his fighter that 3 minutes more, Ken, and you're going to pull off some boxing history. Meanwhile, with his arms up on the rope, Ferdy.
Ali, an exhausted Ali leaning back, saying, give me water. Give me water. He's getting massaged by Drew Boudini Brown. Even Luis Soria is in the act. Everyone is trying to get Ali every bit of comfort he can, every bit of help he can, getting those muscles, trying to get him back in shape, giving him water. It's one last round. Boudini saying, all we need is this one round, champ. Angelo giving his usual patient instructions how to finish this on. Ali says again, give me water. And he is tired.
Well, it shows in his face that perhaps, and even also I noticed him opening his mouth, perhaps trying to breathe a little bit better. Now talking again to Angelo. And Ken Norton also looking for some added oxygen to carry him through this final 3 minutes of round 12. And we're about ready. They come to the center of the ring. The referee, Frank Rusty, says, touch gloves, fellows, and let's make it a good one. Finish it off.
And in Ken Norton's head is that big 3 minutes. It's just 3 minutes. Don't make a mistake. We've got this fight in the bag. And in Ali's head, it's 3 minutes to put this guy away. And we will see what this 3 minutes bring, as the tempo of the fight has not changed at all. Ken Norton still attack. A beautiful right hand by Ken Norton right on the jaw of Ali into a corner. Ali grabbing. Ken Norton having none of it, winging those wild rights. Ali again out of the corner. Ali now moving back. Ali's got to stop and fight here. As long as he lets Ken dictate the tempo, Ken is right on top of him. The last round saw a change around in Ali trying to fight him back. But now it's back to the relentless pursuit of Ken Norton.
Tremendous conditioning by both fighters, especially Ken Norton, who has more or less forced this fight throughout all these 11 and a half rounds now. Still pounding away, flying wild right hands, trying to connect, perhaps put the ex-champion down, which nobody has been able to do. Put him down for good, at least. Another scoring, pushing the head back, missing again with the left, and then keeping busy as Ali grabs with his left hand and holds the back of the head of Ken Norton. But it doesn't stop Norton, Ferdy. He's coming right back, still pushing the left jab out there. Out jabbing, which seems impossible, but that's what he's done through almost 12 rounds now. Out jab, perhaps one of the greatest jab perfectionists of all time.
And it was, to all of us in the corner, the longest 48 minutes we'd ever seen in a fight, because we were well aware of the pain that Ali was suffering. And now, those are tremendous punches to the kidney.
Oh, a tremendous fight. Trying to end it all right there with one swing, Ken Norton.
The leverage that Ken Norton has in those punches is like he's punching a static punching bag in camp. He is not letting go with one little bit of energy. He's letting everything go with every punch. He knows he's 51 seconds away from upsetting Muhammad Ali. And he is not stopping. He's not being cautious. He's fighting with everything he's got. He wants a knockout.
He's got 11,000 on their feet. They are hysterical.
Ali trying to come back, but not being able to do anything to Norton. Norton looks as fresh as he did in the first round.
Ali trying an uppercut, takes a great right hand to left, and Norton backs him into a neutral corner and pounds away at the ex-champion.
20 seconds left, and Ali is battling for his life. He's battling to keep himself from getting knocked out. He's not even battling to win. He's just battling to stay in there till the bell.
Well, it's less than 10 seconds. There will not be a knockdown. Ali scores with a great right, but it's too late, folks. As this fight is about to come to an end, Ken Norton still after the ex-champion.
5, Norton, 4, Ali. Judge Fred Hayes, 6 points Ali, 5 points Norton. Ladies and gentlemen, referee Frank Rustage, 7 points Norton, 5 points Ali.
Norton wins. Norton wins the fight. Look at Norton jumping up and down. He is ecstatic as well he should be. And there's the grief-stricken face of Boudini Brown.
So Kenny Norton won and produced a major upset, beating Muhammad Ali. It was an upset that even shocked Howard Cosell, who was there at ringside that afternoon. Well, for Kenny Norton, it was a big win, one that pushed him into the upper echelon of the heavyweight division, and a place that he would occupy for the next 6 or 7 years. It produced many big money fights for him, and even a short-lived tenure as the WBC World Heavyweight Champion. That was a title he won, a vacated title, by beating Jimmy Young. He would relinquish that crown in his very first defense, an epic battle against Larry Holmes. But for Kenny Norton, this was a day that vaulted him into the top of the heavyweight division. For Muhammad Ali, it was the beginning of
this ESPN program is brought to you by
at the World Heavyweight Championship. Well, he would fight Kenny Norton again later that year, win a very, very close decision against Norton, and a very controversial one. They would fight again after that in 1976 when Ali was champion. He would meet Kenny Norton in Yankee Stadium, win yet another close and controversial decision, and for Kenny Norton, that one was a bitter loss. But on this particular afternoon in San Diego, this was when Kenny Norton began to make his mark as a heavyweight, and it was a time that he would later say to me was the most exhilarating of his life, and we can understand why. We hope you enjoyed Muhammad Ali and Kenny Norton 1 on this edition of Superbots. We hope to see you next time.